example, Islamic mysticism or
the
theology.
Orientalists.
Orientalists. We have the problem that they do not believe, but they want to understand what they finally reject.
That's
this
the honest
ungodly mean that if I may say in Persian or in Arabic, when you understand something mu'minane, when you have a text of iman and you understand it mu'minane, mean based on iman, it is different to understand the same text. Therefore, I would like to ask you how to explain the difference between these two paradigms. Ungodly thinking of God. How we can use this term? If we are thinking of God, before thinking, how we can direct ourselves to godly thinking?
That's the main problem of the modern philosophy. And not only of philosophy, of the study of Islam, of religion, and so on, of modern theology. That's the main problem, the ungodly thinking. The ungodly thinking, that's a hard word for that, what I told before, the subjectivity. Not the subjectivity as such, but subjectivity, the principle of subjectivity, I think, therefore I am. And that's the inversion. And with this inversion begins the new world, the change. And if you are familiar with psychoanalysis, what is dream interpretation by Sigmund Freud begins with a sentence in Latin, and if I came to the holy gods, I come through the depths from the darker forces. In that you see the inversion. Yes, in that you see. Not only he was before, that was in the 19th century, very early. He was a friend of Hegel, and he attacked him, but very honestly, of course. But we have here the problem of modernity in very short philosophical terms. If you understand that, you have a key to understand your universities and the so-called traditions in your country and so on, and all this nonsense. Yes. The inversion. Modernity begins with an inversion. And the modern man puts his ego as his God. And you can find such things in literature and in many, many things, yes. But you explained that. I have nothing to add.
I have a question, but I'm sure I'm not able to explain it clearly by English. But
no problem.
If
I have problems with English too.
Yes, ask him in Arabic or Persian.
Oh, please go in Persian.
Okay, in Persian. عرضم اینه، حالا فرمایش شما و همچنین آقای دکتر، این که ما راه غیر خدایانه یا غیر مؤمنانه برای شناخت خدا داشته باشیم، من فکر میکنم این در دو سطح قابل مناقشه است. در لول و سطح اول این که انسان با ایمان پیشینی و با فرض مؤمنانه به سراغ خدا بره، معلوم نیست به اون خدا برسه. لذا لایه‌ای از سیر و سلوک معرفتی پیشینی باید در واقع غیر مؤمنانه باشه تا در مسیر تعقل و تفلسف و معرفت به مؤمنانه تبدیل بشه. لذا من سوالم اینه، میشه اعتقاد به این دو لایه کردن معارف شد؟ لایه‌ای رو بپذیریم که ایمان پسینی مبتنی بر معقول باشه، با مبانی ادیان خرافی عرفانها کاذب قاطی نشه. الان تجربه دینی رو به عنوان نسخه اولین باید تجویز کرد، یا بعد انسان عاقلانه عقل خودش رو در سفره خدا بگذاره و بسپاره به خدا، اون وقت مسیر سیر و سلوک صحیح تری طی بشه. اون سوال من هست.
I will try to explain in English for he is cleverly putting some question on the context of discussion, saying that to think of God and to know Him, if our approach is godly before we reach Him, then in fact we didn't move. So the correct way may be that, and the transcendental move means if and only if you are not in the realm of godly thinking, but somehow through some kind of exercise, mental exercise, spiritual exercise and other things, you do move, you transcend yourself to reach that one. Then you can say that you gain something. It means that, he is mentioning a very crucial point, saying that all of this pseudo-mysticism around us, in fact, is taught with pseudo-godly thinking of pseudo-God. And they drop the rational, transcendental achievements.
It's difficult for them.
احتمال اینو میدم که میشه برداشت delayed believing کرد، یعنی اون اولی رو نفی ماورا نمیکنه، اثبات ما به سیثبت بعده میکنه، یعنی در واقع اون ایمان رو تأخیر میندازه، نه اینکه نفیش بکنه.
But he goes further. We are on you are further.
No, he's thinking that cogito. And that cogito not necessarily could be explained of negation of the God and establishing himself.
That would be easier for us.
Rather he is somehow playing a delaying tactic.
No, that is I agree. But let us explain the 3 points, and because at the end is the most important sentence. But we have to explain step by step. Descartes' cogito reverses the founding relation of finite and infinite consciousness in that he performs the inversion of the ontological founding relation of I consciousness, I am, therefore I am, from absolute consciousness. Yes? That he performs the inversion of the ontological founding relation of I consciousness from absolute consciousness to an epistemological deduction relation of the certainty of God's existence and our world knowledge from the subject self-certainty. That is the meaning of cogito. It's completely worldly. And there is not transcendence. We have a wonderful little dissertation written in the 20s about the word transcendent, because Kant is using the word too, but I explained to the students, Kant is like an old bird on the airport of Munich, he was in East Prussia, so we can say in Berlin. Yes, on the airport, like an old bird who tried to fly. Yes, right. Begin, and never get up. So, no, but that's an image for the students.
If I may help, just 10 seconds. From Rumi.
Yes.
Explaining this, that
yes.
جان گشاید سوی بالا بالها در زده تن در زمین چنگال ها. He said that how Kant was not able to take off. Rumi, in the story of the Majnun riding his camel to go to his beloved lady, the longest, so I don't want to say that. But in one place he say that I am, or Majnun was like an eagle whose wings was so powerful to fly, but the finger was trapped
that's the transcendent
in the ground. The wings were working, but no more.
If you understand this image, you understand.
So this is Immanuel Kant.
Yes, that's Immanuel Kant.
I agree.
Yes, we can make comics of that, comics of philosophy.
Thank you. I agree with you about the concept of cogito is completely worldly if we read his book Meditations and his of Philosophy. But in many parts of his work, especially in Meditation Book 6, he discusses deeply about the dichotomy, substance to substance.
Yeah.
Excluding God, res extensa and what?
And res extensa and res
cogitans.
Cogitans. That's the main words for his dualism. With
dualism,
these words begins the modern dualism.
Yeah, that's one. So, under your topic, epistemological roots of modernism, in my opinion, the great problem of modern philosophy is the problem of relationality. The problem of relationship between matter and mind, between res cogitan and res extensa, or maybe in other words, between subject and object, between mental
and
world,
material,
mental world and external world. It is the great, in my opinion, it is one of the greatest problem in modern epistemology. So, if, for example, if we study, for example, after Descartes comes John Locke, and then Berkeley, and Hume, and then Immanuel Kant, they try to overcome this problem actually. Because John Locke cannot overcome this problem, so just tabula rasa. we reject all innate ideas. We just believe the perception, sensory perception, and we get simple ideas and complex ideas concerning Locke. And then comes Berkeley, and then Hume, and Kant, and then Immanuel Kant. Actually, in my opinion, the greatest problem for them is how to clarify the problem relationship between subject and object, between matter and mind, between mental and external world. So this is problem.
You are right. The relation is not. They were not able for a relation. Therefore, we speak here about an inversion of. The principle is God, if we speak philosophically, but they changed that the principle is the ego. Simply speaking, yes, but they did it in a very complicated way, because, and therefore I recommended you the book of Arbogast Schmidt. He is explaining the whole thing. The traditional philosophical language, and Kant uses a traditional philosophical language. He was educated by the Jesuits, fathers in France, and they used a scholastic language, yes. And he wrote in Latin mostly, and some parts in French. And if you read it, you can at first glance believe that you are in a traditional context, beginning with the pre-Socratic. No, the interruption is this inversion. That is the rupture.
Failing point.
Yes. And it is not easy to see that. It is not easy to see that. It is not easy. Kant didn't understand. Bader understood why. He discovered Meister Eckhart, he discovered Jakob Böhme and the German mystical tradition, and he was grounded in that. And therefore he was able, with this, with the language of German idealism, to criticize. Yes, he was. We have in the Jesuit order in the time of Descartes, it begins the criticism of Descartes, but this was a very, very isolated criticism, yes, very isolated only for the disorder and so on.
So how do you respond to this problem? If we want to overcome epistemological, modern epistemology, we should overcome this problem.
Yeah, that's the problem of dualism.
Yeah. Yes.
Res extensa, res cogitans, and he created this. This dualism didn't exist before. Of course, you can find in books on Plato, oh, there is a dualism. In Plato, there is not a dualism. Yes, there is not a dualism. He created this dualism, and you can overwhelm this dualism because it is inversion. And therefore, you can save this problem. You can solve this problem, and they are not saved if they stay. And there is not a possibility to find a way to a union. And therefore, Heidegger said philosophy is, even Hegel said, they knew the problem very good, said, we are ended, we are the last philosophers. No, they are the last philosophers that ended in this inversion. And they tried to do their best, certainly. And Heidegger is in the search of the holy. He wrote such things, but in the search, but he couldn't go because this rapture didn't destroyed the way for a union.
Okay, I have a question. My question is, if let's suppose, for the sake of argument, we say that let's overcome this inversion and we start from the God, and would it be possible then? I mean, sciences and doing science, and we know this thing that physics reached its climax, and justified by Kant, and things were going on. So the development we see right now, would it be possible? I mean, if we just invert and
to go back, yes.
No, going back, but fine. But how would you explain then? I mean, how sciences would become possible? The technology. What do you say about it?
They are not founded. The technological progress, or better to say, development. Progress, it is a word of enlightenment, and even in the field of sociology, it's clear. It is not. We have there is now no real progress. We are what I explained yesterday. We went too far, and we can go back. Therefore, mankind is in this terrible situation now, because the situation of mankind is a very terrible situation. Yes. Yes.
I was just going to say, I think there has been since that time, attempts by many philosophers to get beyond this, and especially the postmodern age. And Fred Dallmeyer, have you read his work?
No.
I mean, he's in the States, but there is, what I notice is that there is, I think for quite a long time now, there's been this, it's become acceptable to question boundaries. Like there isn't this kind of division between, this clear division between me and the other, for example, self and other. And I think what they're trying to do is to question boundaries. What is a boundary? And also to question, the relationship between the self and the other. I mean, Fred Dallmeyer talks about...
Yes, but Buber wrote, probably you know that in English, Ego and Thou, a very famous book. But that is, they are not transcendental. They are on the level of psychology. And they do their best, yes, without any doubt.
I think it's being done. What I notice is it's being done in a covert way. There's a return to religion in some sense, but in that they're trying to do it without anyone noticing that it's a return to religion. So
yes, worldwide is a return to religion. We can observe that. Yes.
I mean, Dalmaya writes about again he turns to the Indian religions, and my question has been, because I know Brother Mehboob was talking about postmodernity and how it opens up a door for Islam to play a part, and I think that's the case, because postmodernity is where there is nothing certain anymore. So you can go down that road, or you can go down that road. So people are starting to kind of, in a very abstract way, take some concepts from Indian religions as an example, or
a movement, yes, by pseudo-esotericism.
It's becoming kind of acceptable to, why don't we use this as if it's a brand new idea? And and my question is, to them would be, okay, you still haven't touched upon Islam, because Islam for them is still unfashionable, really. But but it is becoming kind of fashionable to kind of play around with the idea of what is the self now, what is the other, what are our cultures.
Yes.
So I think we're at that kind of state.
The complete uncertainty. We are in a state of complete uncertainty. Yes, I think that postmodernism is a kind of modernism too, yes.
Right.
But I went in a train from Cologne to Frankfurt, and on my side was an Englishman, engineer, and he said, all these postmodernists, that's gossip, yes. And indeed, that's blah, blah, blah in my eyes, but I will not vulnerate nobody, yes. But let's continue here. I explained the problem of inversion, and even though Descartes introduces this inversion of the ontological relation of finite and absolute consciousness only as a methodical inversion, the epistemological deduction by its effect turns into an ontological deduction as well. He begins methodologically, methods and so on, but indeed it comes to a ontological deduction. So he said, I, the first, and after that is God. That is possible.
Kepler said, when we live, it is in my language, in my understanding, when we live in skeptical trap, it is very difficult to find the way out.
Yeah, thank you. When all certainty and also the certainty of God is deduced from I consciousness, it will lead to an elevation of human self-consciousness and knowledge, which results in actual non-foundedness of knowledge and of man, because man's knowledge and his being are bereft of their genuine founding principle, and man will no longer find a foundedness, not of himself nor of his knowledge. Yes, therefore uncertainty, no founding. And if you said it, you have to found your life, well, what you? Because the principles are not clear. And even that we can have principle is not clear. So the modern mind is certainly confused. Here is a certain order, yes. It's inversion, he inverted, there is a certain order, yes. But now we are confused totally. But what the Cartesian doubt, it is allowed to say, or I will add it here, that some sentences concerning doubt we can find in St. Augustine. Yes, there are some sentences in St. Augustine, and Descartes read him, probably, or certainly, and Gison, the French historian of philosophy, showed that here is a certain connection methodologically, only in the method, not ontologically. Well, but what the Cartesian doubt as the absolute autonomy of knowledge actually wants to say is nothing less than this, that man as a creator shall make his own knowledge and have it found itself without credit. Wherefore, with such Tantallian effort, he only startles the non-foundedness within himself. It's a wonderful characterization of the situation. In his time, they were educated, learned Greek and Latin and so on. Now they are.
Could you repeat that? Could you repeat that sentence? Could you repeat that?
Yes. The last sentence.
Man creates his own knowledge.
Oh, yes. That man as creator shall make his own knowledge and have it found itself without credit. Wherefore, with such Tantallian effort, he only startles the known foundedness within himself. I sent you the text by email. The ego sum I am that follows the cogito, I think, is the expression of an entity that wants to manifest itself in thinking and in being without God, and which, incapable of doing this, inhibits its own manifestation and that of God. The finite being man, by founding its certainty of being and knowing in I consciousness is the, cogito, yes, I consciousness, attempts to manifest itself as absolute being and to make itself into a self-founding God. However, this I consciousness, because as finite self-consciousness, it can only manifest itself within the manifestation of God, merely succeeds in becoming a God monkey. And that's a quotation from a letter of Bader to his friend Stransky. A Dieu manqué is somebody arrested in his evolution towards false thinking, a microtheos stuck at birth. Bader was a Bavarian, and his expression were very, not hard, but fiery, yes? And you can find some expressions in the histories of philosophy. Oh, yes, we can't make many commentaries because his language is so difficult. No, his language is the language of speech, yes? Normally you have another level